Arend van Buren was born to a Dutch-speaking family in Kinderhook, New York, becoming the only president who did not speak English as their first language. Van Buren became a lawyer early into his life, becoming heavily involved in state politics. He was elected to the New York Senate before advancing to the United States Senate, only a year later creating the political machine known as the Albany Regency. Van Buren was well renowned for his mastery of public speaking and politics. Van Buren came up with plans that would seem peculiar to some, but worked out exactly the way he wanted them to. His ability to bring opposing views together and his charisma earned him the nickname the Little Magician. This was a time where the Democratic Republicans were the one and only political party that had any influence on national politics. Van Buren was strongly opposed to this, so he supported Andrew Jackson, believing that he would reestablish a two-party system. After Jackson was elected, he promoted Van Buren to be a Secretary of State. As Secretary of State, Van Buren created the Democratic Party that still exists today. In 1832, Van Buren continued to climb the political ladder as he became the vice president of the Jackson administration. After Jackson left office, Van Buren threw his hat into the ring, running for president of the United States. Andrew Jackson and the highly organized Democratic Party strongly supported him, and he went on to be elected president. After becoming president, he gave a speech on the economic prosperity the United States had produced, declaring that it should be a beacon for the rest of the world. Ironically, only a few months later, the Panic of 1837 set in, a financial crisis that led to an economic depression lasting until the 1840s. His popularity only continued to decline when he launched America into the Second Seminole War, a long and costly conflict against several Native American tribes in Florida. In the 1830s and 1840s, the idea of manifest destiny started growing more and more popular. Van Buren, however, refused to annex Texas, angering the more imperialistic factions within his own party. After one term, he ran a second time for re-election, but unsurprisingly, lost the election to the Whig nominee, William Henry Harrison. In 1844, he tried to become the Democratic nominee once again, but lost to James K. Polk, who promised to annex Texas and solve the Oregon dispute with Britain, both of which he did. Van Buren was not popular, but he never quit. In 1848, he became the presidential nominee for a newly formed third party called the Free Soil Party, which was against the expansion of slavery. He returned to the Democratic Party, but grew increasingly more anti-slavery, becoming one of the most outspoken abolitionists in the entire party. After the election of Abraham Lincoln, Van Buren became an enthusiastic supporter, but died before ever seeing slavery abolished. Today, Martin Van Buren is not a relatively well-known president, but his impact is far greater than most would expect. He is probably the only American to ever think the two-party system was a good idea, as Van Buren split the Democratic Republicans when he created the Democratic Party. This was actually intentional, as he believed a two-party system divided along partisan and ideological lines was a much better alternative than people voting for politicians based on the personal views and policies of that particular politician. His decisions as Secretary of State and President would eventually lead to the partisan divides that have been present in this country for, well, ever, but that does not mean everything he did was bad. His refusal to support the annexation of Texas was not based off of nothing. He recognized that if Texas would become a slave state, it would continue the worsening of relations between the North and the South until the country burst into conflict. However, as he only served one term as president, his warnings against the expansion of slavery were ignored by the Democratic Party, eventually leading to a civil war that he tried so hard to stop. There's definitely something to be learned from this man. Despite some of his decisions not being popular among his peers, he still did what he thought was right. He was not afraid of what other people thought of him, and that is definitely something to admire. This video is a continuation of a series I started not too long ago covering all US presidents, so if you haven't seen those, definitely go back and watch them. Or don't, it's up to you. Whether you watch those videos or not, at the very least, thank you for watching this one in particular. Goodbye.